Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. As you see here, I'm going to be showing you 2 meals that I cooked on the first 2 days of my fast, so I hope you enjoy it. So you see, I'm showing you apple cider vinegar. I've been told and I've kind of seen people use vinegar to clean their food before they cook it. So I just went ahead and tried it out. I didn't have white vinegar, which I think is the preferable vinegar, but I used what I had, which was apple cider, and it doesn't change the taste at all. I ultimately wipe it off anyway with the water, so that's what you see me doing there. We have zucchini and squash. And I am going to be stir frying it in a small skillet. Couple of quick nutritional facts about zucchini. It has numerous vitamins and minerals. It helps to keep your energy levels up, especially while your food intake is down. Zucchini is high in fiber, which delays hunger pains. It is packed with magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, vitamins B1 and B2. So it's a good energy source, especially in circumstances such as these. So now I'm getting ready to cut the zucchini and squash. You want to get rid of the butts, right? And so as I'm doing this, I'm going to cut it, I would say about 1 centimeter. You don't want it too thin, because then it'll overcook and lose its nutritional value, but you don't want it too thick either. So I'm just cutting them into reasonable bite-sized pieces. So you saw me cut the wider end of the squash into halves, just because, again, you want it to be in bite-sized pieces, and there's a narrow end and a wider end to the squash, as you all obviously know. So now with the zucchini, I am trying a different approach to kind of cut some time. So I went ahead and sliced it down the middle. It's clearly not even or symmetrical, but it turns out to be fine. That way I can eliminate that second step. So you cut it in half and then go ahead and make your pieces. So next I'm getting ready to cut up my onion and my garlic. These will be the primary seasonings for this dish. Fresh onion and garlic. I used about 1/3 of the onion, and I want to say 2 to 3 garlic cloves. As you watch my cooking videos, this one and future videos, quick disclaimer, I really don't measure things. It's just kind of like go for what you know. So if you are interested in knowing how to make these dishes and you need precise instructions and directions, I'm not that gal. But I'm going to be quiet and let you guys read day 1 scripture. It is 1 Corinthians 3:16 and 17. And this particular scripture focuses on your body as a temple. So again, I only use 1/3 of the onion, and I'm trying to cut it as thinly as possible. I think the proper term is called mincing. I'm trying to mince my my onion here. And then, I don't know, I saw this on the Cooking Network, so I believe you're supposed to like press down your garlic before you start to cut it. I don't know if that just makes it easier or what, but here's my attempt at trying to cut garlic. Yeah, it was a bit of a struggle, but it worked. Got the job done. So I know cookers or chefs are probably cringing at this, but yeah, I'm just trying to get them as small as possible so that it's not too chunky and too bold in each bite. You want it to kind of blend in and mix well, so I'm trying my hardest to cut it as small as possible without chopping off my fingers. So yeah, I'm just like, at this point, I needed some scissors, really. Just cut it up. So now I'm going to get my skillet and pour in olive oil. I'm going to be using olive oil quite a bit in both of these dishes. So I'll turn the heat up to about medium heat. And I let my olive oil heat in the pan. I evenly distributed it. Now, if you look closely, and I know there's no sound, you can see this oil starting to heat up quite a bit. Here in a second, you'll see that it starts to pop a little. I'm not quite sure what I was doing or thinking about or focused on at the time, but it wasn't that I was getting ready to encounter hot oil, for sure. So it already looks a bit agitated in the pan. As you see, it's bubbling up. It's getting pretty loud in the skillet. And I think at this point, so you see it's popping up, I have enough wherewithal to move the camera out of the way. However, I didn't think the same for my body. So, yep, I did burn myself here, and I'm just going to play it back so you guys can see. So the oil just literally pops out. There are my burn marks. Had it for 2 weeks now. But yeah, once I figured that out, I got smart about it, approached it at an angle, poured in my food. And now at this point, I'm just going to kind of let it cook down until it gets a bit soft. So I'm going to add a few seasonings here. That was a garlic and herb seasoning, which was low in sodium, to give it a bit of a flavor. Black pepper, although I was advised to use cayenne pepper because that has circulatory benefits, and it also can make your food a bit more spicy, obviously. So if you're going to do this, cayenne pepper over black pepper. And then I was also advised to use pink salt, which I didn't think I had any, but I did. So I used that in the second dish. So a little bit of salt to give it, some taste. And just stir that around again. I like my zucchini and squash to not be mushy, because it can get mushy if you overcook it. But I also don't want it to be crunchy. So I'm looking for that nice in-between balance. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my chopped onion and garlic. Because it doesn't take too long for those vegetables to cook. And now I just stir it around, kind of let it simmer for a bit, and then I'll come back and show you when it's almost finished. Now I am boiling a pot of water because the next thing I'm preparing to do is boil the brown rice that will be going on the second dish. So right now I'm looking for a piece to show you that texture that I was looking for. And I think here in a second I'm going to pull one out. So you see how it's kind of like, I guess the term would be malleable. It's like soft, but it's not too limp. So that's what I was looking for. And this is the finished product. Again, you don't want to overcook your vegetables because then you lose the nutritional value. So I'm going to pour it into my mixing bowl and just kind of have it sit there. And I'm going to use this same exact pot to cook the cauliflower rice in. So I can use minimal dishes. I'm going to also use olive oil for that as well. And the pot is kind of already greased, so it just works perfectly. And then there's the finished product. So I'm adding a little bit more oil for my cauliflower rice. And I'm so grateful and glad that I looked up how to cook cauliflower rice before I started, because initially I planned on cooking it like regular rice and boiling it in hot water, but that's not how you do it. You can just cook it in a skillet. It'll cook down on its own. I'm not sure if it makes its own juices or water, but it just, I don't know, it got softer and it cooked itself in that pot. So yeah, don't boil the cauliflower rice. You cook it in a skillet with oil. So I would say this was about maybe 5 to 7 minutes later. You can see the color has changed. It's not that brightish white color that it was initially. It's turned yellow a bit, and you can tell that it's cooked down. It's becoming a little transparent. So I'll just add parsley as like a garnish to, make it look some type of way, but obviously it doesn't add any flavor. And then I think after this I added an herbal seasoning like oregano, just for fun, really, because I'm not sure it tasted like anything. So we have our boiling water, and I went ahead and got out my rice. So again, this is Ben's Original, and this is very convenient because it's already pre-packaged, pre-portioned for you. It has holes in the bag so it strains itself, and there's a little handle for you to grab it out of the water, quick and easy. So this is just like optimal for cooking. So I cooked all 4 bags, and it takes about 10 minutes. I'm going to set a timer here and come back to it when I'm finished. So the rice is done. Again, it took about 7 minutes to cook the rice. The zucchini and squash has already been prepared. It's sitting in a bowl. It's cooling. And now I'm just going to go ahead and make my meal prep. So I had about 4 servings. I really could have made 5, but I went ahead and did 4. And I just laid out my rice and poured my vegetables on top, and that literally took me, I would say, 15 minutes. So now the rice is done, and I'm just gonna call it a pitchfork to take it out of the water because I don't want to burn my fingers again. And I'm gonna speed this up so we can move along to the next part. Again, very convenient. It's straining itself. I'm gonna put it aside in another container. And then I'm going to use this same pot. I'm going to change the water, but I'm going to use this same pot to boil our corn. So there is the pot of water. I'm going to turn the heat on to high so that it can boil. And while the water is boiling, I'm going to go ahead to the sink and start with our next vegetables. So here we have Brussels sprouts. I'm going to wash the Brussels sprouts and strain them. Again, I'm going to use the apple cider vinegar just to kill extra germs. So a couple of tidbits about Brussels sprouts. They are especially effective in supporting the immune system, especially during the winter months when infections are most likely to strike. On top of that, they're a great source of vitamin and mineral content. They contain numerous disease-fighting phytochemicals, including words that I can't pronounce, but just know that it's very good for you. They also are good for the skin, and it gives a healthy, lustrous glow. Some nutrients it contains is calcium, copper, iron, magnesium, folate, potassium, omega-3 oils, and protein. I'm going to take off that first little layer of skin just because you want to be extra safe. I'm also going to preheat the oven because the Brussels sprouts will be roasted in the oven. So I preheated it to 350. And the next thing I'm going to do is just cut them into halves right down the center. So again, I'm going to continue to reuse my same dishes because, you know, you want to be resourceful. And in this bowl, I'm going to mix some olive oil and some seasonings and just give my Brussels sprouts a good mix before I put them on the pan. I didn't show you guys, but I also added a little pinch of regular salt because the pink salt just wasn't coming out. So tried to use my pink salt, didn't really work for me, so I did use a little bit of regular salt, as you see in the back of the frame. So I have a foil lace pan that has coconut spray on it so that it doesn't stick to the foil. And you want to just make sure that it's evenly distributed. So right now I'm just going to go through with a spoon and make sure that every piece is laying flat on the surface of the pan. And then as I'm preparing this, I'm going to let you guys go ahead and read scripture number 2 for day 2. And this one is focused on power. So read that scripture. Hope you enjoy it. Last but certainly not least, we have the corn. So again, I'm bringing it to my little strainer so that it can get washed. I did not use the apple cider vinegar with this one. I'm not sure why, but ultimately it's going to get boiled in hot water, which will kill whatever it is that tries to hurt me. So this was fresh corn and it still had pieces of the shuck on it. So I'm trying to get the little fine hairs off of the corn. Excuse my dog, he's pretty, or I'm sorry, my neighbor's dog, he's a bit unfriendly. But yeah, I'm washing and rinsing the corn, and I'm going to go ahead and take it to the pot that is already boiling. And while that is boiling, I'm going to prepare some snacks and some breakfast options for myself for the week. So I have grapes, I'm obviously going to wash those. And then I just individually bag them in Ziploc bags. So there's the corn. Once it rises to the top, we know that it's finished. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out. And then the Brussels sprouts, they weren't quite done yet at this point. I did flip them around a couple times to make sure it was cooked on both sides. And once everything was done, I put in the rice first. Went ahead and laid my corn in there. It was lightly seasoned with some seasoning salt. I couldn't use butter because I'm not using dairy, and I didn't have a substitute. So just the seasoning salt and a little bit of parsley for garnish. And now I'm plating it with the Brussels sprouts, and that's pretty much it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Again, I'm going to be trying to consistently post throughout this fast and throughout my journey. So you will be getting more videos of my meal prep in the future. But until then, if you enjoyed this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. You stay blessed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.